Back to the phone lines again to John in Appleton. What's going on, John?
Hey, John. I generally agree with many things that you say, and I listen to your show, and I love it.
Well, thank you.
This making of a murder thing, though, I think that there is some things that the cops, overzealous cops, did to try that they didn't have to do to try to make Avery more guilty than he was, like the keys that mysteriously showed up. But when it comes to some 4 quick points, I thought it was unusual that the coroner could not, when she was interviewed to go do her job at that place, they would not allow her on the property. I thought that was unusual. Number 2, I thought it was unusual when Teresa's journal, where she had written down the appointments, and she was driving in her car, she had pulled over to write down the appointments, how that piece of paper got back at her home when the car never went back home. I thought that was strange. And I thought it was strange when the prosecution had that computer of the brother who had all that porn and stuff on it, but they never allowed that to come up. They said it was Brennan's computer, but it was Brennan's, but his brother was using it. So those 4 points kind of make me think, hey, they weren't being up and up on the entire thing. And do I think, they might have had something that they might have done it? Yes, but I think that there were some police actions that didn't have to be done.
Well, and John, I think you and I can find a little bit of common ground there, actually. Like I've said, I do not believe it actually made a difference whatsoever in the end outcome that Avery and Dassey were the ones who murdered Teresa Hallback, and you still had the confession of Brendan Dassey. You still had a lot of evidence, physical evidence, that would support Avery and Dassey being convicted and going behind bars. I wish, like I said, that those Manitowoc County officers that did appear at the scene after it had been turned over to Calumet County, I wish they wouldn't have shown up, because that does cast doubt over this. So I agree with you. I don't think it made any difference in what happened, but I wish they would not have given those bad appearances by just even showing up and being there for a little while. When it comes to the computer that was belonging to Brendan Dassey, that was being used, as the caller said, by Dassey's brother. Look, with that one right there, this was something that was known to Stephen Avery's defense team at his trial. And this was something they chose not to pursue. So it seems for Avery, who, again, back then we were hearing was supposed to have some of the best defense lawyers that money could buy with Dean Strang and Jerry Buting, that they did not try to pursue that in court, making me believe that they didn't actually see that as being something that could be damning. I mean, just because somebody Googles something doesn't mean that they necessarily have done it. So, again, that's going to be something that's going to be very difficult to actually prove in a court of law and say, because an individual Googled something on a computer, that automatically means that that person was guilty of having done that very thing in real life. It's something that, sure, it could seem coincidental. It could seem like, oh, well, there's a chance this happened, but there's no guarantee that it happened. So hopefully that helps to try and clarify things, as we're unfortunately running short on time. We have an email from our buddy Chris in Appleton to get to. He's at work, but he said he will be back in the tree stand tomorrow living life. He says, John, Kathleen Zellner's no longer a legit attorney. Yes, she has successfully defended clients in the past, but now she's nothing more than a C-rated actor in a propaganda-driven smear campaign. Ken Kratz hit a home run convicting Avery and Dassey. Zellner is jealous of Kratz's success. Jealousy breeds hate, a typical liberal characteristic. I could have convicted Avery. It was a slam dunk. You're absolutely right, it was. Especially when you have Brendan Dassey Brendan Dassey going out there and admitting in gruesome detail what they did to Teresa Hallback, not to mention all the physical evidence that was there as well. Look, this was a slam dunk case. Not everything was done 100% how I would have liked to have seen it done, but it wasn't to the point where Dassey and Avery had their, rights violated and, this was a whole travesty of justice or anything. No.